In February, Bad Bunny headlined the Super Bowl, the biggest stage in American media. He didn't sing a single word in English. The NFL paid him $1,000. He made $1.7 million off the stream bump alone. This is the story of how the decision every label said would cost him everything built him a $100 million empire. Before the Super Bowl, before the billion-dollar tour, before headlining Coachella in Spanish, he was bagging groceries at a supermarket in Puerto Rico, Econo, $9 an hour, uploading songs to SoundCloud at 2 a.m. after his shift. 5 years later, he was the most streamed artist on earth, 3 years in a row, not because he chased America, because he refused to. This is the story of how one decision, the one decision the entire music industry begged him not to make, built an empire on track to cross $1 billion in touring revenue. His name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. Born March 1994, Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. A small coastal town with one main road. His mother was a teacher. His father was a truck driver. Music wasn't a career path. It was background noise. At 19, he was studying audio production at the University of Puerto Rico while working overnight shifts at a local supermarket. That's where the SoundCloud upload started. In 2016, a track called Dials, Spanish for Tell Them, got picked up by a producer named DJ Luyan. Within months, Bad Bunny was signed. And here's where every other Latin artist in history made the same move. They started learning English. J Balvin took English coaches. Shakira recorded in English first, Spanish second. Ricky Martin built his entire crossover on Livin' La Vida Loca. Because the math was simple. Spanish music ceiling in 2017 was around $5 million a year. English unlocked the global market. Bad Bunny said no, publicly, repeatedly. I'm Latino, I sing in Spanish. If you don't understand it, learn it. Industry reaction was instant. Major labels passed. American radio refused to play him. He was told, and this is documented, that he would never headline a U.S. festival. He kept saying no. Here's what they didn't see coming. While America was busy ignoring him, something massive was shifting under their feet. Streaming changed the math. On the old radio model, geography decided who heard you. American radio, American audience. Spanish language radio, Spanish language audience. Two separate worlds. On Spotify, language was just metadata. The algorithm didn't care what you sang in. It cared what people played. In 2018, Bad Bunny dropped his debut album, X100 Pre. All Spanish, no features, no crossover plays. It hit number 11 on the Billboard 200. The first Spanish-only album to crack the top 15 in over a decade. Then, 2020 happened. YHLQMDLG, Yo hago lo que me da la gana. I do whatever I want. First all-Spanish album in history to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200. 8 months later, El Último Tour del Mundo, number 1 again. He did it twice in the same year. In a language Billboard had spent decades ignoring. By 2022, he was the most streamed artist on Spotify globally. For the third year in a row. Beating Drake, beating Taylor Swift, beating Ed Sheeran in Spanish. In 2023, he became the first all-Spanish language headliner in Coachella history. In January 2025, he dropped Debí Tirar Más Fotos, an album so rooted in Puerto Rican identity that the cover is just a folding chair on a porch. It went number 1 anyway. Then he did something nobody in his position would do. He stayed home. Most artists in his position would have signed a mega deal with a major label by now, done a global stadium run, cashed in the leverage. Bad Bunny did the opposite. He moved his entire 2025 to Puerto Rico and turned that into the most lucrative year of his life. Here's how. Most artists sign with a major label, Universal, Sony, Warner. The label fronts marketing money. In exchange, they own the masters, the actual recordings of the songs, forever. That's why Taylor Swift had to re-record her catalog. That's why Prince changed his name to a symbol. The Masters problem. Bad Bunny never had that problem. He signed with Remus Entertainment, an independent Puerto Rican label founded by his manager. He owns his masters. All of them. Industry estimates put the catalog value north of $200 million on its own. Then there's the touring business. In 2025, he ran a residency at the Coliseo de Puerto Rico called No Me Quiero Ir de Aquí. I don't want to leave here. 31 shows, just in San Juan, no US cities, no Europe, direct ticket sales, nearly $100 million. Estimated total economic impact on Puerto Rico, $380 million. He kept the money on the island. Then, in late 2025, he launched the Debí Tirar Más Fotos World Tour. First 12 shows, $107 million in box office. December alone, $99 million. A single 8-night residency at Mexico City's Estadio GNP Seguros, $86.7 million. The highest grossing single engagement of any artist in 2025. The tour wraps in Brussels in July 2026. Industry analysts are projecting it will cross $1 billion in lifetime touring revenue, making him the fastest Latin artist in history to hit that number. Then the Super Bowl, February 2026. Halftime show. 40-plus minutes broadcast to the largest audience on earth, performed in Spanish. The NFL paid him about $1,000. That's the standard SAG union rate. He didn't care about the fee, because the week after, his streaming revenue spiked an estimated $1.7 million in 7 days. That's the Super Bowl bump. Times 5 years of catalog he owns outright. Then there's the brand deals. Adidas, multi-year exclusive. The Forum 84 sneaker collab sold out in seconds and resells for 10 times retail. Cheetos, global campaign. Gucci, recent ambassador deal. He launched his own clothing line. He started a record label. He invested in environmental causes back home. Then there's WWE, multi-year deal, WrestleMania appearances, the 24/7 championship. Then there's acting. Bullet Train alongside Brad Pitt, Cassandra on Amazon. Caught stealing with Austin Butler in 2025. Real estate, a Hollywood Hills mansion bought for around $8 million. Properties in Puerto Rico. Investment portfolio managed through Latin Wave Holdings. Net worth, $100 million on paper. Industry insiders who track the Masters and tour revenue put the real number well past $200 million when you factor in the catalog. All of it built on the one decision the industry told him would cost him everything. Sing in Spanish. Here's the part most people miss. Bad Bunny didn't get rich because he was the best singer. He didn't get rich because he had the best beats. There are 1,000 artists in Latin America with more vocal range and tighter production. He got rich because he refused to dilute the thing that made him different. Every label asked him to compromise. Every executive said the ceiling was real. Every gatekeeper had a number, 5 million, 10 million, 20. He said no. Then he built a system that made the gatekeepers irrelevant. That's the lesson. Authenticity isn't a brand strategy. It's a moat. The people who try to be everything to everyone end up being nothing to anyone. The people who own one specific identity and refuse to compromise it end up owning markets the rest of the world can't even see. Bad Bunny refused English, built a $100 million empire in Spanish, took home $250 million to Puerto Rico, headlined the Super Bowl on his terms, owns every master, owns the brand, owns the leverage. The artists who crossed over for the American market, most of them are smaller than he is now. He bet on himself. The world adjusted. Subscribe for the stories the music business doesn't want you to know. Drop a comment. Who should we cover next?